watched a movie today.
Called Tenet.
Let's tell you about it.
And now let's tell you about it.
Tim's watching
Tim's watching
Let's just start doing that, you know. Oh, you go, so back to it, okay. So Tenet is a 2020 movie.
Yeah.
Actually, the first major release of the pandemic that they tried putting out last July did not work out. Everything was still closed. Written and directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Robert Pattinson, and what's Denzel Washington's son named? Joel David Washington. Along with some other people who were in it for 2 seconds, and you're like, oh, that guy's gone now. But wow.
Yeah, right? The first hour and a half, we were freaking lost.
The first hour and a half, it's literally it's almost frustrating. So you're like, I'm watching the movie.
Yeah,
we didn't walk away.
No, we didn't walk away.
It's almost like doing homework, but you didn't. It's like taking a test, and you didn't study, and you have no idea what the test is about. Then halfway through, someone slides you a tip sheet, and you're like, oh, okay, hold on. All right, well, I know this now. But it's a very well-made movie. It's first off, the whole time we were watching it, every time there was every time the scene changed, and they would be in some expensive location for 15 seconds, and everyone's wearing new suits and new outfits, and they have 1,000 extras in the background. This looked like one of the most expensive movies because of how many locations and scenes, and there's not a lot of main characters, but there's so many side characters and characters that have 1 or 2 lines, and I'm telling you, it's a very what's the word? It's a very
confused.
No, it's not confused. It's very we're grandiose. It's like a opportunistic movie where they tried a lot of new things. I will say halfway through, you realize it kind of gives you a little to go off of. And you're like, oh, wait, now I have to go back and watch the whole thing again. Now that I know, because as soon as they revealed the twist kind of halfway through, I immediately was like, wait, this and this, that was this. And then when the movie that part came up, I was like, I knew it, see, okay. But, sorry, we're going off on a tangent, because this movie kind of beat us for a while.
Yeah, it beat me even.
Even at the end, I'm still a little bit like the main villain. Kenneth Branagh's also in. He's the main villain. Even the main villain party is still unsure of what the algorithm was. I'm like, wait, how does he? What machine did he build to make time? But whatever. They even said in the movie at one point, a guy goes, "Does your head hurt yet? Don't even try to understand it, because it's like they're talking to the audience. Just watch the movie. Try not to go too in depth. Don't break your brain thinking about it."
Yeah, right.
But boy, oh boy, this movie was difficult. It was a challenge.
I was literally gonna be like, so we watched a movie today. God, what the f*** is going on?
Yeah, it was so
I was like, holy
for the longest time.
For the first hour and a half it was.
So, what are the things you liked about it, though?
Well, the things I liked is that they went to the past and the future.
Right, and that's the thing. They didn't go 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
It's literally a couple days in the past, and they play it out into the future. But this movie starts at the beginning of the movie. Halfway through, it almost kind of ends. Then they bring it back to the beginning again. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I will say the action scenes in this were choreographed really well, because there are some scenes where someone is fighting someone in forward motion. Meanwhile, the person they're fighting is going backwards. So it's the dynamics of how the choreography of how to shoot those scenes must have been a year of preparation and planning and rehearsals. Like I said, this is a technically astounding movie. Astounding. Also, okay, what else?
The things I didn't like was that he shot the woman. I was like, damn.
Oh no, husband shot the wife?
Yeah.
Unreal. I will say another thing with the girl. 2 things. First off, there's 2 female characters, I think, 3 female characters in the whole movie. One's terrible, the Priya woman.
Yeah.
One's just a bad person, as we saw by the end of it. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
The second one is the main woman, the husband, the wife of the villain, who doesn't really have much character. All she talks about the entire movie is, I want my son, and I hate my husband. And I will say, she doesn't really take. No, I will say at the end she takes charge, but it almost turned out to be detrimental to the plot, where she almost hinders instead of helps when she takes charge herself.
Yeah.
Having said that, Another thing I didn't really like was I know it's part of how the movie story is told, and it's part of how the movie operates, which you don't appreciate until you're done seeing it the first time. And it makes you want to go back a second time, but you are left in the dark for a good hour and a half. And you could have hints and ideas, which I did. Part of me was like, I had little flashes of, oh, maybe this, but like I said, the first hour and a half, you're just trying to absorb everything. And the movie's flying by, like, they're going from this place to this place. They never stop and go, okay, this is what's going on, and this is what's happened so far. They really don't hold your hand.
No.
They just let it go. Like, just pay attention. If you need to watch it again, watch it again. Within 5 minutes, we turned on subtitles, and I was like, whoa, hold on.
You're like, what?
I gotta know what everyone's saying. This is like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like I said, it's a movie that you have to really watch. But I felt rewarded by the end in a way where I was like, okay, I kind of got it. Like, at least for the first half, to be like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then the last hour to go, okay. It really makes you appreciate the beginning more. But again, it requires a second viewing. Requires.
Yeah. And I'd recommend it to anybody who likes action movies or going back to the past or whatever.
Well, no, it's pretty confusing, right?
Oh, yeah, it's confusing.
I would recommend to people that are really into movies that can pay attention and not get frustrated if they can't really get a handle on exactly where they are at that point in time in the movie. That's the best way I can say it. Anyone that doesn't mind watching a movie that challenges them and a movie that they might have to rewind a couple things, but like I said, it's not. They don't hold your hand. They don't spell it out for you at all. Matter of fact, even by the end of it, dude, there's still like quite a few unanswered questions. This would be a good movie to look up on YouTube and see like an analysis of and hear someone's opinion on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I rated it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I would go, see, this is tough. If I'm going off of story, which, again, the way the movie is, it's so... It tries a bunch of new things that I've never seen in a movie where I'm like, I've never seen that. Like the car chase sequence, the highway chase. And then the scene that follows that kind of connects with it. I've never seen that done that way in a movie. I guess I've seen concurrent events play out at different times in movies from different points of view, but the way they do it in this movie, in this specific scene, and a bunch of other scenes, it's really original, and I've never seen it before. And this movie didn't get the best reviews. It got good reviews, like I said. Technically, on a technical level, the cinematography, the shots they use, the use of, I would almost say that it benefits the movie not to have everything spelled out, but as far as, I'm sorry, this movie really has me thinking a lot and talking a lot. Like, I really have a lot of ideas on this movie, and I'm going to rate it, 5 out of 10? I might go as high as like a 9.1. A 9.1, because for everything that I didn't like about it, there was much more in the pile of stuff I did like.
Yeah.
Like, there's maybe 4 things I can say that I didn't like about the movie, and some of them are real things, and I'm like, it wasn't like, oh, I didn't like his character's hair color. It's like stuff about the movie that I'm like, eh. But overall, it was a very interesting movie, and I have not seen a lot of movies like this, and I always like seeing a movie that feels like, wow, I can't really predict exactly what's going to happen. I love that in a movie.
And I also like Philly said, when he's like, does your head hurt yet?
And also, one thing too, weird thing about this movie, the main character, no name.
No.
They just keep calling him the protagonist. Which is funny, because you know what a protagonist is?
No.
A protagonist is the person you follow in a story. The main character in a story is the protagonist. And they call a lot of the bad guys in the movie the antagonist, which I think was clever, where this movie isn't really, I wouldn't say it's a character study as much as it's about a story that these characters are in. I guess you can say that about any movie, but yeah, this movie is, wow. There was a lot to it.
Yeah, there was.
You can tell this is one of those movies where I would have loved to see it in theaters, honestly. I think this would have been an amazing film to see in theaters, especially IMAX. I mean, if they ever do a re-release of this, because a lot of people didn't get the chance to see it when it first came out.
No, they didn't.
I breathed in my mask. There's hairs and stuff in it. Oh, God. Anyway.
Oh, God.
So, Yeah, I mean, overall, Tenet is probably, out of all the movies we've ever reviewed on this show, this is the most captivating. Where I'm like, there's a lot to talk about, and this is a movie I would like to show people. But the thing is, I know most people I would show it to would kind of be like,
they'd be like, what?
I got 30 minutes into it and was
like,
like,
I don't know.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I hats off to Tim because I know, because when I didn't know what was going on, a couple times I'd be like, Tim, what's going on with this and this? And he'd be like, fucking no. I'm like, I know, right?
That goes back to, does your head hurt yet?
Yeah, dude.
It's like, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, at least they didn't put that, I liked that little part where they kind of give like a little side wink to the audience, like yeah, it's confusing as hell. But they do pepper in some things. And, just, I don't know. And again, this is the thing, is I like to watch movies sometimes I always think, oh, I figured it out, I'm smart. And then I think about it, I'm like, this is a movie made for general audiences, like, it's not a math quiz. Like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't feel proud that I figured it out. But a movie like Tenet, I really do think you have to have a pretty good attention span, and like I said, I have to watch this second time. I think after a second viewing, I'll have a much better opinion on it, much more solid, but first time viewing, I would say it was what's the one? Give me a second. There's a word for it. Ambitious. It's a very ambitious movie. Probably one of the most ambitious movies I've seen in a very long time. Very ambitious movie, and I think it pays off. Good movie. Like I said, 9.1. Great ideas in it, and like I said, there's a handful of scenes that I'm like, that was awesome, and I've never seen that in a movie before, so that was really neat. I liked it. Vibes of Inception in this movie, which makes sense. Same writer, director, but vibes of Inception in a way. In a good way.
And this was one of the movie posters that we reviewed for a movie poster review.
We did, yeah. And if you look at that movie poster, now you kind of, and you look at it now.
Then you look at it when you watch the movie, you're like, oh, nice.
Did you remember the poster?
It was just like, I don't remember that poster. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, it's the protagonist, and the poster's split in two, kind of, where half of him is holding a gun and like staring like this, and the other half of him, he has that mask on. If you remember what that mask did in that movie. So they flipped it, but great movie. I'd say I recommend to people that have good attention spans. I would say anyone try it. Everyone just give it a shot, because you might impress yourself by how far you get into it. And again, if you don't get into it, I don't want to make it sound like, well, if you're not smart enough to get it, because it's a confusing movie. I don't want to insult anyone by saying like, oh, you didn't get it, but like this, like I said, hour and a half, we were just in the dark. But
it was a confusing movie for me.
Yeah.
And me for sitting there for 2.5 hours.
Big time.
Well, it's not the longest. I sat there for 3 hours for Endgame. But
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was a long. That was going too, though.
That was good too.
All right, so make sure you guys check us out next week, because next week we review Red Tool, which is a new superhero movie about a guy who eats fly swatters and swallows cords. It's rated R.
Sounds like it.
And it's 6 hours long.
It's 6 hours long.
We'll be here for a while next time.
So hey, I'm gonna get up and go get some popcorn. You want some?
Only if it's burned.
I don't know what I just did.
And that's what Rocky looks like at the end of it.